Ladies and gentlemen, we are heating up. We are closing in on the NBA season. We are 64 games into the regular season, around 18 games left. We are going to be talking about every single team's essentially biggest weakness and what is going to be their ultimate downfall going into the playoffs. To start off, let's just talk about the teams that just aren't going to make the playoffs. All right, shout out to the Spurs, shout out to the Blazers, shout out to the Grizzlies, the Jazz, the Rockets. Y'all are probably too far behind.
What you mean? The Rockets about to go on a 10-game win streak and get in there. What are you talking about? They're like actually right there. Casual. Cancel them. Take them out of here.
I would love to see that. I ain't gonna lie, I would love to see that. Big E. Over in the East, the Detroit Pistons, the Washington Wizards, pack it up. Y'all gonna be packed up next year too. Let's just be real. The Hornets, y'all don't want to hear my thoughts on the Hornets, for real. And the Raptors and the Nets, I mean, y'all are still in it, but not really.
Damn, the East got three of the worst teams in the league to me. Yeah, that's why you three are out for sure. Charlotte, Detroit Wizards. I mean, generational losers.
I genuinely thought the East was catching up to the West, but then KD just decided to leave. Kyrie decided to leave. Harden decided to leave and go to the West. And yeah, now here we are, man. So yeah, we're cooked.
Told y'all that West is still the guy. I've been Team West all the time. Let's start with a team that you're very familiar with, the Boston Celtics. And I ain't gonna lie, so I ain't in a good mood. So it's gonna be free.
To me, the downfall of this team, push comes to shove, man, it's gonna come to Jason Tatum, man. When it comes to winning a championship, I am a firm believer that you need a tier 1 player playing at a tier 1 level, and this dude is inconsistent. One night he is, one night he isn't. If you look at the last 20, even 30, maybe even 40 NBA champions in history, there's always that one dude playing at tier 1 level, and he just plays at tier 2 levels way too much. If you want a team reason, the bench is pretty weak sauce, but yeah, that's ultimately what it comes down to me.
You're telling me that Jason Tatum win his place? Like, no, I'm not gonna overdo the bit, but all seriousness aside, Jason Tatum, he is a definite problem in the sense of just being good enough. Not that he's bad Beaner fans, but good enough, as Bezos has mentioned. But truthfully, he's not even number 1 on my list. I'm not gonna lie, I think the entire team suffers from it. I don't know if it's a Keke Genkai to just lose all the time with his franchise. If you know what that is, good shit. But y'all have some gene, some bloodline trait to just get in your own way. And it honestly doesn't make sense. With the Boston Celtics, this is probably the only team where I'm saying, to be honest, them. Like, it literally just, I don't have a logical reason as to why Jaylen Brown makes the playoffs and drops about 8 points per game. I don't have a logical reason why Kristaps Porzingis is just about to forget to learn how to shoot, or what's his name, or Drew Holiday's going to start getting dropped off. These things are going to happen. They're going to be unexplicable. And I'm going to be like, damn, what the fuck? This team lost 14 games on the season, and they're about to lose about a good chunk of that next. Like it doesn't make sense. I don't know how this team gets in front of itself every time. Logically, they're supposed to easily get out of the East, in my personal opinion, outside of 2 teams. But truthfully, I don't even have a slanderous reason while I really want to. And I guess if this isn't slander, then damn, you need more friends like me, right? But all shit aside, yeah, y'all just gotta like not just choke. Y'all just gotta not choke, just execute. But that's never been a thing for y'all. I don't know what it is.
That and just not having an answer for Jokic. Like, if there's a team in the league where I believe can just flat out beat us, no ifs, ands, or buts, fair and square, it's the Denver Nuggets. But the Milwaukee Bucks.
Speaking of filthy Euros in my league, Giannis Antetokounmpo and Damian Lillard, just for whatever reason, don't have chemistry. And if they do have chemistry, I ain't seen it. So I don't know how else to explain it. They're supposed to dominate. Truthfully, the 42 wins for this team. It's like, what? Like, huh? Dame, Giannis, Middleton, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez. What do you mean 42 wins? This team was easily poised for like a 60-win season, and we're sitting here pushing 50 wins, which isn't bad, but again, is it good enough for a team like the Milwaukee Bucks? That answer is clearly no, and I'm concerned about in the postseason if everyone's gonna just get better, or if, this is who they are. I haven't seen otherwise as to why this team should win, but on paper, this is another team in the East that should be very dominant. It just hasn't shown me that at all, and I'm also concerned about the backcourt defense. But
yeah, for me, is the biggest reason is the backcourt defense, and there's the lack of continuity with this team, with Damian Lillard being a big piece to integrate year 1, trying to win a championship in that same season, and changing head coaches not not once but twice in the last 12 months. Like that's a big adjustment for a team trying to win a championship to do. So yeah, those are my two biggest reasons. Moving on to the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Darius Garland. I'm sorry. Hey, I ain't gonna lie. Look, man. Y'all know I've had a generational run of not believing in Darius Garland for the OGs that's followed me on my personal channel to them being like, oh yeah, I ain't gonna lie, bro, got it. Y'all was right, I was wrong. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not on the complete opposite end again, but I don't know what happened. My glorious king ain't the same, bro. I don't care about no metrics, man. I seen that man try to sell Dean Wade with these eyes. I've seen that man just been like in games where he's just doing too much when he doesn't need to do that much. I don't know. Like it's kind of like he hoops to remind you how good he is, and I'm like, you alright. like you cool, bro. You cool. But also they're just too small. They're too small in the backcourt. And in the front court, while yes, they're not small at all, they don't have the offensive skills. So this is like the biggest yin-yang team on the list in terms of its own talent. And I'm sorry, you'd have to convince me that Donovan Mitchell is just going to be him the third again for them to have a shot.
I think it's a timeline problem for the Cavs. Like Donovan Mitchell is clearly trying to win right now. And when they paired that up with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen, while being good players, those guys are not ready to just take that leap in a short amount of time span to catch up with Donovan Mitchell and what he's trying to do. I think that's ultimately it. You got a guy trying to win a championship with players who aren't experienced enough, in my opinion, to get to that level. Also, I can name this for essentially every single playoff team, but again, that the whole tier 1 player playing at a tier 1 level, Donovan Mitchell's just not that guy to me, man. I'm not gonna lie. I can say that for a lot of teams, but I can't say that for every single team because that would be Mickey.
That's very true. This is definitely a team that, truthfully, Donovan Mitchell could be the guy, but he'd be an anomaly because, you know, he's short. So it is what it is.
Speaking of essentially the same problems.
Speaking of number one options, Jalen Brunson's Knicks. I'm not going to lie, this team just isn't good enough. I'm going to be blunt. It's just a talent diff. It's not that they don't function together. It's not that they can't even make the Eastern Conference Finals to me. There's a world where I actually see that happening if their playoff bracket goes the right way. But I'm sorry, you'd have to convince me that Julius Randle is really about to be a major piece on a fucking championship team. I just can't. I can't accept that. If that's Mick, fine. You don't think I watch the Knicks games? I ain't gonna lie. I ain't seen the most. So there you go. But nah, I ain't got it. I don't believe in them that much. I do believe that this team could be a sleeper team in the playoffs, but no way they win a championship.
They've been injured. That's my biggest problem, is just when is everyone going to be healthy? Because when they were healthy, scary team. I'm gonna be honest with you. Same thing with Jalen Brunson and what I mentioned about Donovan Mitchell. And in terms of just, X's and O's answer, I don't think they have enough perimeter threats. I know Dante DiVincenzo's been cooking lately, but if that's gonna be your second best perimeter player, good luck. I mean, and if it's not him, if it's Julius Randle, now we gotta stretch Julius Randle to be your second best perimeter threat. Good luck again. Great defensive team, but offensively, I just don't think they have the talent to make it deep. Orlando, a team that slipped. I think a majority of the early of the season, they was holding that 2 seed pretty strong, but they've definitely slipped.
All right, well, for me, Orlando, the problem with Orlando is the defensive slippage. Is that the new term we're going to use for this month? The defensive slippage of the Orlando Magic. They still play good defense, let me be very clear. But there was a point in time where they looked like the best damn defense in basketball. If they could get to that level, then maybe I can always count that one defensive team. But then that leads me to my second point. This is just not their time. I think that's very safe to say. This young team doesn't have the most experience in the postseason, or at least meaningful playoff experience in the postseason. It's just not their time yet. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to start weirdly slandering Paolo because I don't see him as this guy that's a playoff elevator. Why? I haven't seen him in the goddamn playoffs. So it's just not his time. The world would freeze if Paolo just somehow solo squatted his way to a chip, or Franz was like the craziest second option of all time. We wouldn't know what to do. It's just not their time, and that's perfectly fine.
If you're an Orlando Magic fan, I think this team, you could look at it and say it was disappointing because of how they started the season, but going into the season with a young team to end up being a 5-6 seed, not even a play-in team with the core that you have, I think you take the season as a W. So shout out to the Orlando Magic for that. But in terms of their weakness, like Sage said, they weren't the defensive juggernauts that they were in the first half of the season, and they their offense is cheeks, bro. I mean, Paolo's they got good offensive weapons, but they really need a lead guard, and they just don't have that right now. They need more perimeter threats on that squad, more playmaking on that squad, and relying on Paolo to do that heavy lifting. I do think this year is a good, let's develop those skills year, so you can have that in your bag, on top of getting a point guard in the future. But they're just not ready, which is fine. You don't need to be ready that soon, that quick. The 6 seed Philadelphia 76ers, this is a one-hitter quitter, man. They would be a title contender to me, but they don't got Joel Embiid.
Yeah, Mickey, you could argue that you would just dunk. You know what? Nobody on this channel likes injuries. I'm sorry. The people that do that, you're corny. Not even corny. You're weird. Not even you're weird. Fuck you. But yeah, Joel Embiid is hurt. GG's.
The Indiana Pacers.
Ooh, defense. Also, Tyrese is injured as well, so we don't know how healthy Tyrese will be in the postseason. Me personally, I'm still going to accommodate this I'm not gonna lie, Reese, you're my dog, I fuck with you, but I think people was a little too crazy with you as well. Yes, he's still injured, I understand. I also think the way he has to play just to get paid is fucking stupid as well. But at the end of the day, I feel like people just a wee bit. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but it's not Luka or Reese now, it's Luka or SGA. By the way, why is everybody compared to Luka all the time? But yeah, prior to it was definitely Tyrese's name, and I think people just boosted how good he was a little bit too early, so as a result they had a couple of expectations that unfortunately Tyrese literally his body couldn't keep up with. But more importantly, the Pacers are just overestimated a bit this season. Benedict Mathurin hasn't been the best player for a lot of people. Some people like him still, but other people don't. Same thing with Miles Turner. Some people like him, other people don't. This team, just one side of the ball is okay-ish, pretty good, we can depend on, but like statistically they're great, and then the other side they're fucking awful, so it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, I think any shot that this team would have of even winning a championship just kind of gets shot when their best player in that offense is not playing healthy, so that kind of shot their chances, any puncher's chance that they had. But yeah, just keep on building. I think they're headed in the right direction, just not their season, and it's cool.
Yeah, Chad, I understand, by the way, when I say okay-ish on offense before y'all keyboarded up, I know they're like first in points, fucking sixth in shooting, all that stuff. The Pacers offense is crazy statistically. I'm talking about in the playoff setting. I do think and question how good that offense is going to be.
Because during the postseason, how many times will they get to the free throw line? If you really look at the statistics, they're actually 22nd in free throw intensity.
That's y'all, bro. But nah, man, I do question them in the postseason. I don't know why. If I'm a hater, fuck it. Told you I'm pissed off today. The Miami Heat, though.
The Miami Heat, man. What is stopping them from winning a championship? I don't know, man. I don't want to say anything, man. I'm gonna leave this team up to you, man. I don't.
Oh my God. Womp womp. Scary activity. Look, bro, you know what's stopping the Heat from winning a championship? The Boston Celtics are stopping. Jason Tatum is the reason. Jaylen Brown is the reason. Kristaps Porzingis is the reason, This team can't compete with the team in green. Boston and foe. It ain't even close.
What's stopping this team, bro? Nikola Jokic, man. Got on the side.
Nikola Jokic.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I've been hurt so much with this team. It's just hard to count them out, man. That's all I'm gonna say, man. In terms of their weakness, their offense does get stagnant at times, but even that, it's like not really. Like sometimes, hey, I don't think y'all give enough credit, for lack of a better term, how much Jimmy Butler be shooting the Heat out of games sometimes. So I guess it might be Jimmy Butler, but we all know who Jimmy Butler is too, man. I don't know, like,
and he's unironically having a good season in my opinion as well. He's low-key like 50-40, not 90, but damn, yeah, 85. Yeah, he's 50-40, 85 right now. He's
Yeah, I would legitimately argue, and I said this going into the season, this is a better team than last season. This is a team that has gone out. I've heard stories about Eric Spoelstra not even to make the right adjustments to instill the right habits going into the playoffs. Jimmy Butler has literally come out and said he doesn't really try up until the playoffs. And right now they're still on pace to win X amount of games. I think they should aim to be a playoff team just so they don't have to face back-to-back elimination games just to get in, personally.
Yeah, I'd recommend passing the fucking Sixers, but that's neither here or there.
If I was them, I'd get there. Me personally, I wouldn't be the 8th seed if I was them,
Yeah, if I have to be semi-serious and just to make my take really, really short, their offense is a little bit of an eyebrow raiser, but I think they're trolling. I think they're fine. But they're going to lose to the Celtics. I can't stop trolling. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you, bro. Boston in 4.
The Chicago Bulls.
No.
That's it. That's all we got to say, man.
No shot. You stinky. PU. No shot in hell. Maybe if king of the fourth quarter is at courtside, you can get a game.
Atlanta.
Trae Young is the reason they might make the playoffs. Trae Young is also. It's like, now let me stop. This team's just way too childish. Way too childish. And I'm not even saying they're the youngest team here. They're just a team that, like, I don't take seriously. Like, at some point, they're going to just do some goofy shit. And I saw it last season with that. To me, I already know the game was over. But when they tried to inbound the ball about 5 straight times and couldn't inbound that fucking ball. Yeah, no, that's exactly what I think of this team in the postseason. I actually think Trae Young might even get them there because he's fucking great. All it takes is 2 wins, but that's about it. I don't expect this team to win a championship. Hell, if I even have to dunk on Trae Young for you guys, hey man, he's like not even 6 feet.
Yeah, I mean, so many different things wrong with this team. Just to give y'all a straight answer, though, it's defense. And like Sage said, just a lack of maturity. They're the type of team that you just don't want to face in the first round because Trae Young is that good. And when DeJounte and Bojan get hot, like, the games are going to be close because they do have talent. But, yeah, that defense is cheeks. That defense is butter. So
yeah, I think, and I'm starting to believe, in comment section, let me know. I'm starting to believe any team that I think is that bad defensively just lacks maturity in general, because you can say a lot of things about the Hawks that you could say about the Pacers as well. To be very honest, it's just a matter of liking their offense a lot more.
Going over to the Western Conference, #1 seed as of today, Oklahoma City Thunder.
Speaking of maturity, this team is very, very young and inexperienced. Now, do I think that they lack maturity? No, I actually think this team is very poised. They play very poised professional basketball. However, I think inexperience will be a factor. I do think that they're just so damn good, it won't matter enough to kick them out in the first round or even the second round. But I do think it's a factor to be had. I also think my issue with the Thunder, my main issue with the Thunder, even if you want to cut everything I said out prior to, man, I ain't gonna lie, this is the team you could punch in the fucking. It's just, I'm not saying Chet can't play defense. I'm not saying SGA isn't underrated or overrated on defense. Not saying Lou Dort can't play defense. But this is that team that, yeah, I feel like if you just get physical with, or if they have to go against physical specimens, and I'm not implying my Lakers, because I know y'all think the Lakers getting swept by everybody, and hey, we're the 9th seed, fair enough. But physical teams could get them the fuck out the way. We could just be honest about it. It's just not their time yet. They need a little bit more bruisers on this team. They're just not tough enough, in my personal opinion.
I'm gonna go there, man. Let the Lakers face the Thunder, see what happens. Chet's a great shot blocker, but again, outside of Chet, they just don't have enough size on this team. And then experience. When we're talking about winning a championship, which is the theme of this video, not just making deep playoff runs, because I believe they can make a deep playoff run. But in terms of winning the whole thing, name me the last team that had this lack of experience that won the whole thing. You can't. I'm sorry. You just can't. Closest thing you can name, 2011 Thunder. They didn't win. 2012 still didn't win. 2018 Celtics, if you really want to go there. You got one dude on the other team that had all the experience in the world, and that's all it took to beat them.
And he's in the West. and he's in the West right now. But again, I'm not going to say the Lakers or anything like that, because you know how the shit goes. But like, that's what, like, even Denver, for example. Denver, I think, is an underratedly physical team. And look, dog, if you're telling me Chet about to lock up Jokic, I mean, that's just going to make my dick go. Let me start it over. Look, if you're telling me Chet's going to lock up Jokic, you're just making my take a lot easier.
Yeah, I think ultimately it is going to be experience, just because there are other teams in the Western Conference that can match up with them from a talent perspective that just have more experience. Like when you roll out the ball against the Denver Nuggets, they have just as much talent as you, and they've already won a championship and has already gone to the Western Conference Finals, has been to the playoffs the last 5 years, continuity and all of that. So y'all are getting cooked by the Nuggets. I don't know what to tell you, man.
Yeah, to be plain, Thunder fans, we've expressed several times, I'm gonna be blunt, this team probably will make the Western Conference Finals. To be honest, they should, unless they get soloed by Luka or the Lakers that come out of the play-in, or if you get a Kings matchup, then my God, right? But they should definitely come out to the Western Conference Finals the way the bracket's gonna look, in my personal opinion. My issue is quite literally, I ain't beating Denver, bro. Y'all are not beating Denver, bro. That's like a nightmare matchup for y'all.
Speaking of the Denver Nuggets, what is stopping them from winning a championship?
Nothing.
Yeah, you got clickbaited. This is my team to win, and not gonna lie, I know I'm supposed to find something to hate. I'm not. But Sage, you're a Lakers fan. Yeah, and as a Lakers fan, I'm telling you, we ain't beating them niggas. I'm gonna tell you now, the Thunder ain't beating them niggas, they too soft. The Timberwolves ain't beating them niggas, they too hurt. The Clippers ain't beating them niggas, they too short. The Pelicans ain't beating them niggas, Zion's too fat, and I'm talking about the team with Jokic on it. The Suns ain't beating them niggas, they too old. The Kings ain't beating them niggas, the beam is out. Luka can do anything. Luka do anything. Curry ain't beating them niggas either because he's the only person on the team. I ain't gonna lie. We looking at teams out east. I think they match up scarily well with the Celtics. B-Souls, you know what pain feels like now. As I told you during that day. Told your ass that day, yo. Okay, you ain't never played them niggas. I'm telling you, they don't give a fuck about trash teams. That's the only reason they ain't at like 60 wins. They don't care about trash teams. They're waiting for that game where niggas are like, let's see who's better. The Nuggets are the hungriest team in the regular season when it comes to like pushing agendas. Low key, nobody talks about it. Man, them boys got it, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not even doing it. They have weaknesses for sure, but Bezos can talk about that.
I'm gonna be as a Celtics fan. I still got my C's winning, but it's definitely not no one's stopping us. It's it is some blind faith in number 0 stepping up in the playoffs. That is a level to it. What's stopping the Denver? This is just such a well put together team, bro, from top to bottom. Continuity with them too. The tier 1 player playing at a tier 1 level, they got that. The number 2 perimeter threat, they got that. They got size, they got bench, they got they got a good bench, they got shooting. It's just it's tough. It's tough to come up with a weakness for this Denver Nuggets team. But what's stopping them from winning a championship? I guess to give y'all a straight answer, the perimeter defense to me, there are teams that can take advantage of their lapses from the perimeter defense. That's why I personally think the Celtics match up pretty decent to them. Not to say that obviously they don't have any advantages against the Celtics, but yeah, their perimeter defense, can we take advantage of a Jamal Murray on switches and just play whoever offense on Jamal Murray with the perimeter threats we got? Low key, I would like to see that strategy, but that's such an oversimplification to the game. And also Porzingis making Jokic work on defense. I do think that was working out well in our favor. And it might be a case of, listen, let Jokic get his, but clamp everyone else up. And the Celtics do have the personnel to do that when they're trying. Sometimes JT be trolling, but I don't know, bro. It's just a well-rounded team. I can't really say too much more.
So you'd have to convince me that you don't like this Nuggets bench, maybe. And I think, again, you're just going to sound stupid slandering the team because it's not like they're trash, right? And I don't know, man. I got the Nuggets. I don't even know what we're doing, especially when we're shortening the rotation. Is it really like we're going to sit here and talk about all these players even potentially playing in the postseason? So Nuggets got it, bro. Not going to lie. I'm not even going to fake slander the team.
The Minnesota Timberwolves, for me, losing Cat, not to say that it's the one thing stopping them from winning a championship, but it's definitely a big loss for them. Hopefully they just don't rush him back. But outside of that, this is also a well-rounded team, bro. I guess it's the tier 1 shit. I mean, Anthony Edwards, he's definitely in that trajectory, but right now, I'm sorry, he's just not that guy right now.
I'm be honest, it's Cat whether he's there or not. Obviously they don't have Cat, and it's gonna be like, what the fuck do you mean if he's there or not? Then obviously they don't have Cat, so they're not going to do anything because you just lost Karl Anthony Towns for free. But unironically, if he was there, he's genuinely the X factor on the team, because ultimately Cat is a guy that when you look at his postseason runs, you gotta be very nice to say he's even good during the postseason compared to his regular self. So I think the issue with that is, and y'all already know I've had my days of slandering Rudy Gobert, but even if I were to put all of that aside, it's just a matter of like, yo, is Cat really gonna be that guy for us? But then when you don't have Karl Anthony Towns, now we're gonna have to see Jaden McDaniels essentially play the 3 or 4, because Nas Reed is gonna have to get a lot more minutes, and I don't know if that means sliding him down to the 4 or keeping him at the 3 and essentially just going for an all-in defensive lineup. But then this all-in defensive lineup, well, it sounds good on 2K. Maybe your all-time drafts or your current NBA drafts, the team sounds good. Reality is, man, they ain't got enough niggas to put the ball in the goddamn basket at that point. So it's unfortunate. Cat really made this team very balanced. He still was the reason that I wouldn't bank on them to win a championship. until proven otherwise. But it's just so fucked up. Again, injuries suck, bro.
The Los Angeles Clippers, I feel like the main thing that's probably going to stop them is just, as meek as it sounds, again, no real answer for a guy like Jokic once you run into a Jokic, which I feel like they inevitably would at some point in time. Now, looking at the games that they have played against the Nuggets, Jokic low-key has, like, he doesn't have the best field goal percentage, which I do find interesting, but he was still able to create opportunities for his other teammates because of, oh shit, Zubac is guarding Jokic. Oh my God, we need the help. So that's ultimately gonna be it for me. You can also look at, chokers gonna choke, Paul George, James Harden specifically, when you're relying on those guys to step it up in the playoffs. How far is that gonna go? But I do think they are a really well-rounded team. If you really look at them, they got bench depth, they got star power, they got shooters, they got versatility on the defensive end. But yeah, that's it for me.
It don't matter if you give them the Clutch Player of the Year award or last year's Clutch Player in De'Aaron Fox. It don't matter if you give them LeBron James. Hell, if you ain't done with the 90s, it don't matter if you give them Michael Jeffrey Jordan. When you put on that flipper jersey, you flipping out in the offs. That's right. History is why they won't win, bro. They're the fucking flippers. Who cares? They're not doing anything, bro. Even logically speaking, they're not even like this overwhelming favorite that like I've had to hear for like the past 5 years, right? It's like the second season where people are like not saying this team's gonna win everything, and that's because they don't have a fucking big. We ain't even gotta do the Jokic shit. I ain't gonna lie. I think the Thunder can get them boys a run for their motherfucking money. I ain't gonna lie. The Thunder can give them run. Get Luka. Play him. play him. You play him, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. The Clippers are just not the team that I truly could ever believe in. I think you would have to still think it's 2019 to say Kawhi is gonna just backpack the shit. Because as Souls mentioned, even if I have to not be a cringe Lakers fan here, dog, I mean, they literally have the playoff chokers in terms of like who we meme the most. And maybe not statistically, maybe not the guys that should be meme the most, but in terms of the guys that we talk about failing in the playoffs, whether it's Russell Westbrook, James Harden, playoff P, they literally have those guys, top to bottom. Hell, I ain't gonna lie. I know he ain't there. Doc Rivers still has like a 5-year lingering span on the franchise. So even then, bro, like, they're just, betting on the Clippers to win the chip is just like a take to have right now. I'm not gonna lie.
Where the standings are, I don't know, man. If they face the Thunder and the Clippers, I'm not gonna obviously just shun the Thunder, but I would take the Clippers in like 6 or 7.
That's a good game. No, that's a good bump. I'm not gonna lie, because technically you have 2 people that you could throw at SGA. You also have a question of like, hey, who's stopping me if I just go to the basket if you're the Clippers? But then, like I said about Boston, they're gonna flip the out, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't. You gotta put logic aside, bro. There's no reason Luka should have got him with 7 games twice.
I mean, another thing too that I didn't mention is just injuries, man. I maybe that's the every single season, man. Kawhi be turning up in the playoffs and just randomly out of nowhere 2 games into the series, oh, he's out for the season. What the fuck, bro?
Yeah, right. Why the fuck? Okay, all bits aside, why the fuck does that happen with Kawhi? It'll literally be like, damn, okay, you just had like 30 the other day. Game 4. Whoa, what's up? Kawhi's out. Oh no.
It's only a game. It's only
and
a
now
game.
It's Paul George, and then he's out the entire fucking Alls. Paul George just wins that round anyway, and then next round he's still out.
Imagine
like,
if they had
what
Kawhi.
The fuck going on. Every year. I'm tired of imagining, bro.
The New Orleans Pelicans. What about them is a championship team? That's my question.
Yeah, I'm about to say, yeah, the question is, what about them is a championship team? To go a step further, I'm not going to lie. He's having an underrated year, but it's Zion, bro. He's just not equipped to win a championship. And not in terms of he's not good enough to, if he was on his best day, be a great player, but he doesn't have the skill set to win a championship. And maybe that's Mickey, but like the best you could scale him is to like 2019 Giannis, right? It's just not in his repertoire. There's no way that Zion Williamson just alley-oops and big bodies his way to a championship for me. So one hit a quitter for me. Zion's just not skill set wise, not talent wise. Because if you just put a scouter on an NBA power level him, you'd pass the vibe test. But in terms of what he can actually do on the court, no way. He'd be a glitch. No way.
There's a couple players in the league where it's like, bro, you got all the tools around you to be a championship contender. You just got to take that next leap. The Celtics are one of them with Jason Tatum. I would honestly count Minnesota as one of them. I understand he's in that trajectory, But
Yeah, A counts. We were nice. A does count.
Timberwolves, if AE was literally a tier 1 player with the help that he got, that's a championship contender, like a true one to me. And then the Pelicans is the same thing. You got all the help in the world. CJ McCollum somehow is still not like washed and aging. Brandon Ingram. You got Jonas. You got a good coach. You got some depth. Honestly, you got some culture as well. On that team, some continuity. It's just, yo, Zion, if you were a 30-8 dude that no one could stop in the paint and you were great defensively, like you showed the promise of going into the league, maybe we would be winning 60 games by now. But, baby steps. Zion's headed in the right direction at the very least, but that's what's stopping them, to be honest with you. The Phoenix Suns, man. This is my biggest I told you so of the year, man.
Your biggest. I was right there with you. I think I was walking out the door on my solo platform talking about the Suns, and I was like, bruh, here y'all go. 3 All-Stars is a super team. Not only is 3 All-Stars a super team, y'all don't care about defense. Oh, wait, Josh Okogie. Oh, my God. So yeah, same thing. Depth is a major killer. We haven't talked about a lot of bench units. I mentioned the Nuggets bench unit potentially being too young. We haven't talked a lot about bench units this video, and it's the Phoenix Suns. It's like the reason we had. My God, if y'all believe in the Suns bench, salute to you. Good for you, my friend. Maybe they have a player that you're gonna bring up. You got 4. You're crazy. But even if you do, fine. Defense. I ain't even checked the stats. And I'm telling you now, these niggas in the postseason ain't guarding nobody. They're trying to score 120. And I've never been a believer, I'm still not, that a team that is like, okay, we're just going to outscore you is going to win a championship. No.
Yeah, they sacrifice depth for star power, and that star power is injury prone. So when you sacrifice depth for star power and the stars are not playing, now you're left with less stars and no depth. So they are overachieving if you really think about it, especially with the injuries that they suffered throughout the season. I was optimistic about them being healthy throughout the season, to be honest with you. And to be fair, when they are healthy, they do look good. Even in the playoffs last season, we saw what D-Book and KD was able to do against the eventual champions, Denver Nuggets. You can argue that their series against the Nuggets was the toughest matchup that Denver had to go through last season. But I think ultimately that's going to be their downfall, bro. Again, no answer to Jokic. They did not address the biggest problem in the West when it comes to coming out the West. No answer for Jokic, no depth, and relying on 37-year-old KD and 2024 Yusuf Nurkic to anchor your defense is just not the answer.
I truly think KD and D-Book gonna get his. Everybody else isn't, and that's just how it's gonna be.
Next up, the Sacramento Kings. They didn't improve much from last season, man. Like, they just kind of stayed stagnant when the rest of the West improved in some sort of fashion. Not to say that they're a bad team, because De'Aaron Fox is still, I'm looking at his numbers. De'Aaron is still averaging 27, 6, and 4. I mean, if anything, Sabonis did improve from last season, but the team as a whole, it still got the same weaknesses, and even offensively, it's not like, offensively, they're 14th in the league. That was the one thing they were holding their hat on last season, and that even took a dip. So
I ain't gonna lie, my answer's cringe. They lost like the real hype. They lost that poise. They lost the moxie that they had last season. And when you do that, when you lose that while being the same team, essentially, I'm not gonna lie, it just ain't the same. Now maybe their locker room is still ready to go, still hyped up and stuff, but it just doesn't feel the same. Maybe that's because everything stayed the exact same. I don't know what it is, but I'm not as optimistic on this team as I was a year ago. And I also think a lot of people in the West got better. I think the Thunder are immensely better. I think the Timberwolves are immensely better. I think the Clippers unironically got better. I think the Pelicans, Zion's playing, he got better. I think the Suns, funny enough, I mean, I guess. I guess they got better. I think the Mavericks, who we'll talk about, got better. I think the Lakers, who we'll talk about, somehow, despite just being mid, got better. Yeah. The Warriors, fair enough. But, I think everyone that they're going to have to play, majority of them, if not all of them, legitimately got better, while the Kings are just, the same. And that's not like that team wasn't bad. And it's not to say that team was bad. I know some of you thought that was the greatest offense of all time. Well, actually, yeah, go ahead. But reality, nah, I don't like stagnancy, and I think they're going to learn that lesson.
Yeah, because I remember last season, Draymond talking about, I see a lot of us in them, the Sacramento team. They're up next. All right, buddy. The Dallas Mavericks, what's stopping them from winning a championship?
If the bigs ain't as good as they're supposed to be, that, weirdly enough, this team just somehow made itself a title contender, in my opinion, and that's probably a scorcher. But I look at this team, I'm not going to lie, I loved how Kyrie Irving's been this season. Not going to lie. Bro has been not the best in terms of eye-popping numbers, in terms of talent, in terms of all of that stuff. But Kyrie picking his spots, methodical crazy player. Luka, obviously. Y'all know how I was with Curry back then. For those who don't, hey, man, when everybody keeps comparing X to you that guy. Outside of Luka's the GOAT shit, dead ass, and even though he is, outside of me just saying Luka's the GOAT, people every day say, who's better than Luka? Who's better than Luka? It's almost like Luka's that motherfucking guy right now, outside of fucking Jokic. Funny enough, word to my man Gilbert Arenas. So I think they passed the tier 1 check. I think the team probably needs a little bit of in terms of that bench unit, but I love their even top 6 players. I think they're also going to get, actually no, I come up with a weakness. Not gonna lie, they gonna have to run a gauntlet. That's probably the killer. They gonna have to run a gauntlet. They're poised to go against either the Nuggets or Denver, so they gotta beat them. Then they would have to beat, I want to say, likely if they were to stay at 8, they play the 4 seed then, right? Or the 3 seed then, so they'd play the Timberwolves.
They'd win 1 of 4. They'd win 1-8, and they'd face the winner of 4 and 5.
Yeah, so then they would likely play the Clippers, which I ain't gonna lie, that's a layup for Luka apparently, but not in terms of getting the W. Then after that, then you're basically gonna play likely Denver or fucking somehow the Lakers, but then I think they match up well against the Lakers. So they're gonna have to play really fucking good teams consistently. And then obviously you play the team in the finals, So maybe that's genuinely a weakness. I know that sounds Mickey, perhaps dick suck, but I actually think that's a damn good argument that I'm betting on them to beat 4 great teams. It's kind of tough.
I understand Luka improved defensively, but Luka and Kyrie, with how much they rely on them offensively, them being on the court and how not good they are defensively, I think is gonna burn them. And then they still play a heliocentric style of play, and Kyrie not having a healthy season once again, he is going to step up. Kyrie is going to be the X factor, because when they help on Luka, it would be really, really nice for that 26 point per game most skilled scorer of all time to play like that. It would be really nice. And sometimes Kyrie's a hit or miss in the playoffs, so those are going to be my 2 biggest ones. The Los Angeles Lakers.
Now, Souls has been pushing this propaganda. I think we stink, but Souls is pushing the propaganda that we're actually somehow dark horse team. And I could even see that.
Y'all the Heat West to me. Y'all are the Heat West.
I think we twinning them for real, bro, because when you look at it, we were in the Western Conference Finals a year ago, and obviously this season is vastly different. But I think we just can't beat Denver. We gonna have to go through Denver. We can't beat Denver. Bye, LA. We might make the WCF. We really might. I'm not scared of the Thunder. Let me go full-blown Lakers fan, y'all. I'll go full-blown bias, and you can listen to Souls for your unbiased take, even though he's a fucking Celtics fan, right? But that's besides the point. Thunder, I'm not scared of them. They're inexperienced, and we match up well. Get physical, little nigga. The Timberwolves. Cat's literally hurt. Unfair, but it is what it is. You think I'm gonna ever bet against the Clippers? Oh, you're crazy. Zion Williamson, again, we have the better version of him. Kevin Durant, fun series. Finally, we get LeBron versus KD 4 times. Let's go. But they can't guard me. The Kings. Luka, I'm not gonna lie, that guy's good. We might be cooked, but we won't face them until like God knows how long. And I'm truly not afraid of Luka because we have Anthony Davis. I'm sorry, Derek Lively. Fuck with you. You ain't AD, but and Curry, yeah, cool. But for the most part, we can't beat Jokic. You're gonna have to beat Jokic, and then you're gonna have to convince me that not only will we beat Jokic, but we'll beat any team that comes out of the East, likely Boston. They match up scarily well as well, but I ain't gonna lie, if we ever get there, so you'll never hear me say I'm not picking LA. So I just don't think we can beat Jokic. The pressuring as it sounds, it is what it is, even if I were to go full-blown bias.
Yeah. I'm gonna just be real. Y'all got lucky y'all faced Memphis in the first round, and not Denver. Because if y'all did face Denver last year, y'all would have been a first round out. And even if I think the top 2 teams in the Western Conference this season, which y'all are gonna be poised to be a play-in team, so y'all are either gonna face the 1 or 2 seed. The Thunder and the Nuggets are not the same as the Thunder and the Grizzlies last season. So just facing those 2 teams in the first 2 rounds will cook y'all. Darvin Ham is Darvin Ham. We didn't address that as well. Darvin Ham is Darvin Ham. But the Lakers and Dallas, those 2 are my puncher's chance Cinderella story teams. So
Chad, let me be clear. I think it's Denver And then I think the Thunder are locked to go deep into the playoffs. No shit, who's 1 and 2, right? Even though Minnesota just got hurt. But it's weird. After those two, I'd say if I had to make like a Vegas odds of who wins the entire thing, what cards could go right, not that they're the third and fourth best teams, but I'd say Dallas and the Lakers have a better shot of actually doing it based on what we've seen in history and what they could potentially do than anybody else. But are they the third and fourth best constructed? No, not even close. So it's so weird. It's so fucking weird.
And last but not least, the Golden State Warriors.
Curry, help! Oh God! Everything's missing. Clay can't shoot. Draymond can't run. Ah!
Seriously, it's like a scary movie out there. It's Curry and friends.
They don't have any secondary playmakers, bro. Like, that was their weakness last season too. Jordan Poole shit the bed. That ended up being their crux as to why they lost. This season, Chris Paul was supposed to be that dude. Chris Paul didn't end up being that dude. So when you're relying on Clay and Draymond and I don't know, Jonathan Kuminga, and even Jonathan Kuminga, I don't know. Every time I watch him play, he's just like a mini Giannis to me. So it's not like he's really.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Yeah, good player, but come the fuck on, bro. So yeah, for me, we even had a short where we talked about wash players and stuff, and I remember you said, "Oh yeah, Chris Paul not even that bad." Like I was disputive there, but you were talking in scale of other wash players of all time. In terms of right now, ooh. And so nah, I don't think Chris Paul is that answer for being that second playmaker. I'd go a step further. So they ain't got a secondary scorer. The fuck? If that's Jonathan Kuminga, oh, what are we doing? So nah, no shot.
But that is gonna be it, man. The playoffs are. Listen, man. Playoffs are gonna be fun. The playoffs are gonna be fun. That's all I gotta say, man.
Now, when it's Nuggets Miami against Souls, and you make that nasty tweet about how bored you are, don't come to me and then say that you actually like the NBA. That's actual best hoops. I don't give a fuck who makes it. Best hoops is best hoops.
All right. With that being said, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow us on Twitch. Links will be in the description for that. With that being said, we are out, man.
If we get Knicks Kings, I'm fucking bored. Bye.